Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. We're excited to connect in with you. We have another amazing author that we're going to speak with today. Her book became a #1 international best-selling book in multiple categories and countries. And it is a book that I believe helps us lean in and celebrate. So it was a very fun book that she has brought forward and shared with the world. And so I'm very excited to share the journey of Carmell Pelly with you and what it was like to bring her book forward and how she created it and why and what the experience was like of bringing it forward and things that she discovered and learned. We're going to get to pull back the curtain and have a wonderful conversation with her as she shares her experience. But before we go there, I want to make sure we take a moment to stop and pause. Take a breath. And really take a moment to slow down, connect in. I encourage you to have a piece of paper nearby so you can take notes as you get an insight or an aha about your own message, your own book that you're looking at bringing forward, and see what insights come your way, things you hadn't thought of before, things that might support you in bringing your message forward. And so with that, as we take a breath together, center in and focus. I want you to think about the beginning of the year here. And are you moving forward those things that at the very beginning of the year you had on the list that you wanted to bring forward? It's always good to just check in. And on that list of things that you wanted to bring forward in 2021 and beyond, did you have that you wanted to do some writing, bring a book forward, bring a chapter forward, an ebook forward, blogging, whatever sort of writing was on your heart to bring forward. And it's good just to kind of check in. And as you are feeling into that and where you are in the process, what is it that you need that will support you on your journey? What is it that you're looking for that will encourage and empower you on your author's journey? Just feel for a moment, feel into what that may be. And then take a breath. Beautiful. And open up your heart, your mind, your ears to receive everything that is here for you today to support you on your author's journey. And I'm going to take a moment, introduce our amazing author so you get to know her a little bit, and then we will start our conversation. So Carmell, I'm excited to welcome you to the show. I wanted to introduce you. So Carmell Pelly is a podcaster, #1 international best-selling author, a recovery advocate, and certified recovery coach. She is passionate about helping men and women step into their power by finding their voice, to being seen and heard. She is an advocate for self-transformation and success with over 15 years of sobriety. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Carmell Pelly to the show. Welcome.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you.
You're welcome. Excited to have you joining us. And is it 15 years? I was thinking I saw a celebration recently. Is 15 years correct?
Mm-hmm. No, actually, it's 16 now.
That's what I was wondering. So, okay, so 16. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I need to update that online.
Oh, it's all good. I just celebrate that. I wanted to acknowledge it. And I'm very excited to have you joining us today, and wanted to have you share a little bit about why this work is so important to you, this area of recovery and sobriety. You are bringing so much forward in the area with your podcast and all the work that you do to support others. Why is that work so important to you?
Well, it's very personal, and I just feel that the gift of sobriety that was given to me, which has resulted in the life that I get to live today, is something that I want to be able to gift to everybody. And so I'm just passionate about helping break barriers down surrounding addiction, mental health challenges, and like helping end those stigmas. Because really, I think when society thinks of an addict or someone with mental health issues, they immediately go to maybe the image of somebody on the street, but that's not true. So
beautiful. Oh, I appreciate that, helping tear down some of those walls and really connect to people as people. And taking away some of that stigma, because I feel like we are all growing and evolving and recovering from one thing or another as we are moving forward in life. And I think sometimes we paint a weird picture about certain types of recovery.
Yeah, we do. And I think as we're waking up in the world, because of so much trauma and things that are going on, and people are starting to really recognize that, their thoughts, they think, how they feel are really important. And that maybe they had been not feeling certain things, or, reacting in behaviors or patterns, like it could be eating, right, to suppress things. And so, I think that, again, that image of maybe somebody on the street homeless has to be crushed, because it's your mom, it's your grandma, it's your neighbor, it's everybody. Everybody is affected. And I think the more that we talk about it, the more that it becomes normalized.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you being willing to be such a powerful voice in this space to really break down some of those walls and to help those true connections happen. And I'm curious, because I know that you're working on a few projects. And in the midst of them, and we'll be talking about some of those a little bit later on, but in the midst of them, you suddenly decided to create a book in the middle of the other projects. And I'd love for you to share why you suddenly got this download, this book that you wanted to bring forward, and why it became important to bring it forward, and what the book's about.
Yeah, for sure. So the book is Indulge in Mocktails, which kind of sounds silly because it has nothing to do, you would think, with mental health or addiction, but it actually has a lot to do with it. I think that the subject sometimes gets really heavy, it gets intense. And that's what was going on for me, is that when you're always in the fire and you're always dealing with, people who are maybe in the fire, it can become a lot. And I thought, we're in the middle of a pandemic and we need to have some fun. And so, right, we need to figure that one out. And it was just during the lockdown that not being able to go out, not being able to see friends, and being kind of stuck in my home is when I started to experiment with making fun drinks. And I have to say, up until that point, I'd always been a little bit jealous of people at functions or parties walking around with fancy glasses, and I was offered a water bottle. It's like, and I mean, if you know me well enough, I love beauty, I love luxury, I love sparkly things. And for some reason, there was just this barrier there that was like, no, I'm not allowed to have that. And I decided that, yes, I am allowed to have this, and I'm going to create a recipe book of fun drinks that I can put in fancy, sparkly glasses and that other people can enjoy too. And if anyone out there was struggling with that conception that because they don't drink alcohol, they cannot enjoy the atmosphere that can be brought with, and I know it sounds silly right now, but carrying around maybe a fancy glass, right? There's something to that. That's part of the air of being at a function and having a drink. And so we can enjoy that too. Yeah. So it just kind of took on a life of its own, actually.
Well, it did. And I'm thinking about the launch and the ripple out effect that happened. Now, you pulled this book together over a weekend, right? A week. It was pretty fast. Was it a week? How fast did you? Beautiful pictures, everyone. And she's talking about she loves beauty and luxury, and she's been a photographer, so she has a real eye for how those things come together. And so she brought that artist's eye to this book and these beautiful recipes that do not require alcohol to be wonderful and fun. How quickly did you bring this together?
Well, it was like a weekend. I mean, I had been writing and working on my own memoirs, and it just became a lot. And I just needed some space for it. And I woke up one morning, and that's when I was like, oh my goodness, we're in the kitchen. We're experimenting with drinks already. This is perfect. I'm going to create a book of mocktails, right? And so, yeah, I literally spent 2 days. I kind of abandoned my family. My husband can attest to that because I was like, I have to do this. You just have to take care of the house for now. I'll be in my office. And I wrote it out and started. Anyway, it just became I spoke to you actually a few days later and was like, by the way, surprise, I have this idea for a book and I've already created it.
Yeah, and it was the conversation was in, oh, okay, what's the idea for, well, I've already created it and it's ready. Oh, okay, let's bring that forward. So great fun. I love how that inspiration can come, and I love what happened with your launch. But we are I'm getting a signal. It's time to go to our first commercial break. So more to come. So as we do that, I want you to think about, are there times where you are letting the writing process, what you're wanting to bring forward, become so heavy that it gets really hard? And what is something you can do to bring fun to it, that can bring some air and lightness to it? It doesn't mean you're abandoning. It just may be taking a little bit of a break and allowing yourself to create something else too. And then that can give you room and space to come back to that heavier piece, that more in-depth piece that you're working on. Just something to think about. Enjoy these next moment, and we'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just a minute.
Find out what's happening on the Voice America Talk Radio Network by keeping up with us on Twitter. You can find us at Voice America TRN. Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you took a moment to feel in and maybe feel a little shifting of maybe you're making the writing process really heavy and hard, and there's something you can do to lighten your spirit, to bring a smile. There's something I find when I can bring lightness or laughter, something that lifts my spirit to a situation, somehow I can look at things differently. My creativity flows. So instead of trying harder, sometimes it's pulling back a little bit and breathing and doing something that I enjoy or makes me smile, makes all the difference. And then I'm actually able to move forward and through blocks or through that heaviness. It's not so heavy anymore. And I'm smiling and kind of laughing because I'm reflecting on your launch and some of the things that happened with her launch. So beautiful book that she put together very quickly, amazing drinks, and you had different themes, right? Do you mind going through the themes of the different types of drinks that you had?
Yeah, for sure. So I did each season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I did each season, and I included holiday drinks within that season. Mm-hmm. And then I did a final section, which is very personal to me, of like herbal type of drinks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. beautiful that have different healing and healthy properties to them, which is very, very cool and supportive. And so Carmell says, well, I start because she's pretty active in social media and Instagram and connected and those kinds of things with her show and as an influencer in this space. And she said, well, Rebecca, I've got some videos. I said, oh, great. We can bring that into the campaign. I love that. We can bring these videos forward. She goes, well, there's a lot of them. And she starts to share, right, Carmell? Starts to share what she had done. And I love this. So she was giving a sample recipe to people so they could try it ahead of time and do a video to kind of support the campaign. And the videos, there was such a range and energy and creativity. I found people were just watching them all day long, and they were so entertained and engaged by them. Was there a favorite video or two or moment you can think of in those videos? There were such a collection of them. They were wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'd have to go into categories. I mean, probably most sentimental would be my friend in South Africa, Chris Nell. He made such a beautiful video. Yeah. Probably most hilarious was another author friend of mine, Kyle Dean Houston. His family put on just a hilarious video of
was
them.
Was that the chocolate martini one where they were, was it that one?
Yeah, there were a couple chocolate martinis, but this one was of his family cooking it, actually his wife creating it and the kids running around in circles.
That's the one I'm thinking of, high speed.
Yes. And then they swap real quick and they're all sitting in their at their dining room, all dressed up really fancy, enjoying the mocktail. So that one was pretty funny, but there was just so many. I mean, I had asked 3 friends, would you be interested in doing this? And they were like, yeah. And once I put it out there, I had people actually asking me, can we make a video? And I was like, sure, of course you can. So it did. That took on a life of its own as well.
Well, and I love that it was bringing a lightness and joy to so many. The thing I thought was so interesting about the videos is that I could tell this was the first time they'd actually made the drink and tasted it. And so they were, and this was a common theme I saw in a lot of them, like they're doing like they were doing the presentation and supporting you, and they're like, and then they'd have a toast and they drink it, and then they would their eyes would get big and they're like, ooh, that was really good, and they would lean in for another drink before they'd set it down. So there was the polite drink they were doing, a sip, and then they wanted more before they set the glass down. So it was fun to see the surprise of how good the drinks were, that it caught them off guard like that, and they enjoyed them even more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were making me think of a group of girls who are all in their early 20s and they're all new to sobriety and they're doing fantastic. And so this was really exciting for them. And I think they'd made spicy pear. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. And it was like a group of 20-year-olds clubbing or something. And I remember the one girl saying, yeah, it actually was good.
I loved it. I thought it was so beautiful, and they were so excited to share out and to participate. And I know we got to be part of that campaign and sharing it out. And a lot of our followers that watch the different book campaigns and launches were commenting on them and how much fun they had participating in the campaign and watching it. So to me, it's so neat. Not only is it's such a great book. I have the hardcover, just so you know, Carmell, on my shelf right here. And I've marked a few pages of drinks that I'm going to be making. And I love that you've created something like this that brings that fun, that brings that sparkle to being part of the festivities and enjoying it. And it's created this ripple effect, just the launch of it created such a positive, fun, joyful experience for so many people. And many of those videos you can still find if you look in her social media. We'll let you know how you can follow Carmell a little bit later on. But I thought that was really beautiful. And it is also where if someone does drink alcohol and wants to add their favorite shot, they can, and it won't take away from the drink either. So everybody can enjoy, whether you partake in drink alcohol or not. And so I love that it can be just a beautiful gift, a beautiful way to uplift and bring cheer. And I think that's really cool.
Well, and I think it's funny because, as you say, with those who do drink, my brother is a connoisseur of beer, and he actually makes his own beer and has functions. And so he was even out there promoting it. And I thought, this is hilarious.
I love it. It can be something everybody can enjoy, which is great. And that's pretty powerful to bring something forward like that can engage people. It's fun. It's something that it's absolutely on brand for you. And it can create this connection and joy and spread that. I think that's really, really neat that you were able to do that. So I'm curious as you look back, because I remember the initial conversation of how fast can we bring it forward? It's done. What's next? And watching it come to life and the steps that you go through in publishing from when the content's created and the pictures, were there any surprises in that for you as an author that you didn't anticipate, that there was something more involved or different or easier, that something that just surprised you in the journey of bringing it from the concept and content to life?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that all in all, it went quite smooth. I think you have to have perseverance as well. And especially when you crush something like that into the timeline that we did, you have to be really available to it. So it wasn't something that, I could look at for an hour every day. It was, I needed to be available to the team and the process 24/7. And so, I think that part surprised me a little bit. I thought that, okay, it's done. Here you go, do your thing. But it's like, no, I need to be involved in every little step of this. And it was a great experience. I think I would rather do it a little slowly in the future, have a little more time.
Sure.
So overall, though, I think it was just, it unfolded really well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. I know, because there's always surprises in any publishing process. And so then choices that need to be made around that. So yeah, when it's condensed into
I think
time.
It just came up. Probably something that did surprise me was because of what's going on in the world. I'm in Canada, you're in the United States. And so when I went to get an ISBN number, that got a little bit stressful and complicated because all of the protocols had changed. And so there was that panic that, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have this for the launch. And it ended up working out perfect. I did have it, but something like that, we probably in a normal setting would have had a few months to process and allow that to unfold. And so that was a bit of a panic moment.
Yeah. I love that. And, I've never had anyone say we have too much time. Like I hear a lot of times, let's have a little bit more. And we're always grateful for that in the process. But it does always all come together. So I love that even with all those protocols changing, but you did have perseverance. And I know that you were following up on things, making sure things came together to help support it staying on track and on time. So yeah, that perseverance is important, and being willing to be available so that we can make it all come together. So fast forwarding to the launch, was there something in that surprised you, or what did that feel like to have it so celebrated and it just kind of kept going, and you kept collecting countries and categories and all these things as it went along? What was that like?
You know what? It was a lot of fun. And I am a bit of a introvert, which I know sounds strange, but once I'm in that spotlight, I do like it. I do thrive in it. And so it was a really exciting couple days where it was fast paced. And I appreciate that because I get bored easy. And it just it was a really fast experience. There was so much going on and so much coming from so many different directions and people and then of course countries, because everybody's waking up and going to bed at different times. And so it was just really fast. And I think that surprised me. I didn't think it would be so hectic.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't chaotic. It was interesting because I really make an effort to acknowledge every single person that does support me, because I know what it's like to be excited for somebody and be, I wouldn't say a fan, but excited about somebody, what they're doing, and you put that effort to help them and they don't acknowledge you. And a lot of times, and what I realized actually during this process is sometimes you miss something because there is so much coming at you at once. Yeah. So, I took that time to really go through a few times over and make sure to acknowledge people. And so I guess that probably surprised me was how much was going to come at me. It was crazy.
But I'm glad that it was positive and exciting, and so much was created for you, and you got to be a part of, which is really cool. And then I wanted to see, just as you kind of reflect back on the experience, do you have a piece of advice, a tip that you would share with our listeners that are looking to bring their writing forward, their books forward, their messages forward?
I think to trust the timing of the process. I think sometimes when we see something shiny or we have an idea of something that's been put on our heart and we want to create it, we somehow believe maybe it's going to be easier than it is, or it's going to happen faster than it will, and we can see it. And so it's clear, but the process may not always be as easy as it seems, right? Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of time, a lot more steps in between than we realize. And so trusting that timing.
Thank you for sharing that. So trusting it and being willing to take the steps, not skip.
Yes.
The steps.
Skipping is not good.
and trusting that it'll unfold. And I was thinking, even in that moment where it was getting a little bit stressful about the ISBN, knowing that it would all work out, because I know we talked about that. And there was just a confidence that, it'll come together.
Yeah.
And it did. And so just kind of trusting that as you're taking the steps and trusting the process. So I think that's a beautiful reminder. And I love that there might be more steps sometimes than we want or we realize. and that's okay. It's okay to trust and take each of those steps. I love that. Anything you'd add to that?
I think that's probably it.
Okay, no, that's great. Just wanted to make sure that we are capturing all that was on your heart to share around that. So it's perfect. We're getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do that, I want you to think about some of those projects, things that you're bringing forward, and look at the timeline a little bit. And are there some steps that you're just discovering that you want to work into that timeline a little bit so that you can bring forward what you're wanting to bring forward? And here's the tip on that. It's okay, and it's a great idea to actually talk to experts, authors that have published, talk to people in the publishing space, and ask them what the steps are, so that you can start to map those out. And what's involved once I have the content written? What's next? What are the usual time frames? And that way you've got some of that information that you can work from as you're lining up what you're wanting to bring forward. And that'll help minimize some of those surprises. So we'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just a couple moments.
Find out what's happening on the Voice America Talk Radio Network by keeping up with us on Twitter. You can find us at Voice America TRN. Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you took a moment to think about maybe some of those questions you have that would help fill in some of those steps that perhaps you aren't aware of. I know one of the common things as we work with authors and help them publish or launch their books, that one of the things that surprises them is once they have the content written, the manuscript ready to hand over, and we start a review, they thought it was finished. And as we go through it, we start working with it, there might be pieces that we're missing because they were so close to it, or they didn't realize you need this too to kind of complete it in the book, or we need a little bit more length and for this genre, or things like that, that they just weren't aware of as they were bringing the book together. And then the different steps that you go through, from a content review to editing to formatting to layout and the cover design, and all those different pieces that go into taking that beautiful content and making it into a book and then launching it, sharing it out in the world. So I always encourage people, it's great to have conversations with people in the publishing space so that you kind of know and you're not caught off guard by that information and some of those steps. So I really encourage people to talk with publishers, talk with those in the industry, just to get a feel for some of those pieces. And I'm always happy to have a conversation if that's supportive and helpful. You can always go to our website, which is yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Again, that's yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. And if you scroll to the very bottom, you're going to see a box that you can click on that says Talk with Rebecca. So you can schedule a time. We're always happy to have a conversation and support you in discovering ways that you can bring your book forward and answering some of those questions so that you're able to navigate powerfully for you and your book and what you're looking to bring forward. And I was just thinking, Carmell, as you're reflecting back on our conversation today, was there a final tip or something on your heart as you're just thinking back on the author journey? And I know that you're working on a larger book that you're working on bringing forward, possibly a book 2 in the Mocktails series. So you've got some things you're working on. So not only do you have the perspective of bringing a book forward and launching it as a bestseller, you've helped support a lot of the campaigns that we do, and you're in the midst of bringing more forward. So with all of that insight that you have and experience that you have, do you have another tip or two that are on your heart for those authors out there that are looking to bring their work forward?
Yeah, I think probably not to get discouraged. Sometimes we have the idea and then we keep it to ourselves, kind of what you were saying, and don't have the discussion. We can easily decide in our minds that something is not possible when we keep it to ourselves. And so, again, speaking with somebody like yourself that has a lot of experience on the process of this, finding out what is the process, finding out how long will this take, what kind of time do I need to allocate. I think that's probably really important. And again, I know I had said it already, but really trusting the timing of the book. Because sometimes there's gaps, and I know I'm going through that right now with one of mine, is there's this gap. And I personally, it can be a little discouraging because I had like we all do, had an idea of what it would be, and now it's not being that, but I think it's becoming something better by allowing that time. And so that's what I mean by trusting the timing.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I like that, allowing it and seeing that it's becoming something even better than you had originally envisioned by allowing it. I love that. Beautiful share. So I've hinted that you have different projects and things that you're working on. And so I wanted to, one, for people that would love to find Indulge and Mocktails, how can they get a copy? Where is it?
So I think probably the best and easiest place would be to go to Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Perfect. Amazon.com, and they can find, or Amazon, wherever Amazon however you go in, depending on what part of the world you're in, you can find Indulge and Mocktails, and they can look it up by the title or by your name, Carmell Pelly. And for those who are wanting to follow you and connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so Carmell Pelly on any of the social media platforms. I'm probably the most active. Well, I am the most active on Instagram. If you're looking even for recovery supports or a community, there is a massive community on Instagram. So again, it's Carmell Pelly. And yeah, or you can put in carmellpelly.com and you'll find how to find me there as well.
Perfect. And what about following your show, Recovery Lifestyles? How can they do that? What's the best way?
Again, Carmell Pelly, or to go over to RHG TV or voiceamericatv.com, and it's Recovery Lifestyles. And so on those platforms, all of my shows are there.
Perfect. Want to make sure you're easy to find for those who are wanting to connect. So I appreciate that. And then can you share just a little bit of some of the projects that you're working on, and we can look forward to seeing and following?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sure there's more projects that I'm unaware of, but the ones that I'm currently actively working on is a memoir surrounding my journey of recovery and addiction. And then also a second book to Indulge in Mocktails. That's going to be all more herbal remedies. And so actually just a quick story behind that is when I got into recovery 20 years ago, the way I got sober was through acupuncture and herbs and healing types of remedies. And so I want to create a book of mocktails that supports those healing capabilities, but have it as a fun way, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Fun and powerful and healing all combined. Love it.
Yes.
Beautiful. Great. And anything else? I didn't mean to cut you off. I like fun too. So I latch on to that.
Yeah, have fun. Have fun along the way.
Perfect.
Easy.
Well, wonderful. Well, Carmell, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom, your journey, your experience, and your fun in it. I love that. And we'll be watching for your upcoming books and projects and your show, Recovery Lifestyles. So thank you so much for being available and spending time with us today. And listeners, I want to encourage you to bring fun into what you're doing, and that can actually increase our production. It can help us want to create more and bring more forward when we're able to bring joy and fun into it. And I love how she's bringing forward things that are close and near and dear to her heart and spirit. And I think each of us can do that, because each of us are beautifully, uniquely, and wonderfully made. And I believe that's by design, that's on purpose. And the more we can share how we're uniquely made, those things that make us smile, those things that touch our heart, the more we can bring that forward, it creates a powerful and beautiful richness in the world and lifts up others. And I believe a lot of the gifts we're given aren't just for us, they're actually designed for us to share them out and to give them to the world. And so I want to encourage you as an author to bring your perspective forward. Bring your insight forward, your unique, maybe quirky way of looking at the world. Bring that forward. It's a voice that's needed. It's a perspective that matters. And when we have the power to encourage another, lift another, share insights that can support them on their journey, that's making a powerful, positive difference in the world. So be willing to bring your message forward. Be willing to bring your book forward. Be willing to say yes to that call and pull at your heart. It makes a difference. We look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall-Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.